Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, well, anyone else have not been assigned a mentor yet?
Hi. Hello.
Yes.
Yes. So actually we received two mentors. So how do we go about that?
Okay. Do you submit two ideas or only one?
Only one.
Only one. Okay.
Yes.
Can you write down your name and idea on the meeting chat, and we will find out who is your assigned mentor.
Do I also write the names of the mentors that were assigned to us?
Yeah, you can, and we'll find out which
Okay.
one is the correct.
All
So can
right.
the email ID of Miss Dr. Simon, because there is some confusion in the mail I received regarding the
Okay.
mentor, because it's written that my mentor is Dr. Simon, but when I click on the link,
Yeah.
it opens.
Okay. Yeah, we are aware of that. Thank you. So, all right. Anyone else has any problem about the mentor? No? Okay. So, yeah, if you don't have any question for now, please turn off your microphone. And today we are going to have Ms. Engie Bashir of Middlesex University, Dubai. She's going to share with you the tips for making prototypes, the importance of doing prototyping, and how you can use the prototyping for pitching your ideas, your hack. And at the end of this session, I will explain to you what is next. There will be an assignment. You are expected to make a video pitch and submit it, and how the details on how to do it, I'll share with you later. So pay attention on the presentation by Ms. Engie. I already made Ms. Engie as a presenter. She's already here. Welcome, and thank you for your time, Ms. Engie.
Good afternoon, everyone.
You can share your screen now.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
And I'm audible. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the prototyping sessions. I've seen some of your interesting proposals, and some of you already, by one way or the other, they started prototyping. Very interesting projects. Today I'll discuss about different prototyping techniques. The most influential thing about prototyping is that it allows you to bring your ideas into, move them from abstract concepts into more concrete concepts. So today what I'll cover is what is prototyping, why do you need to prototype before jumping into the development stage. I'll also discuss about low fidelity versus high fidelity prototypes, and also I will discuss on techniques of how to prototype. I'll provide some examples, different techniques starting from very low fidelity paper prototypes, sketching. Maybe some people do not believe in paper prototypes, but they're very good for innovative solutions. And what are the available tools other than pen and paper? Like we have many digital tools that are available for prototyping, like for mobile apps and websites, and others for engineering products. So if we look basically at the definition of prototyping, prototyping is about bringing any idea that is abstract to life quickly. Yeah, and you need to iterate around this prototype to bring it from what we call low fidelity to high fidelity. The more you bring it to high fidelity, the more it looks like a representation of what is the product is going to look like. So the ideas become more concrete and tangible. You get feedback. When you prototype, it's very important to go back to the users and get feedback, because these are eventually the ones who are going to use your prototype. and you continue to improve your concept until it's at a development stage or until it's at a release stage. Prototypes, they take several forms. They could be physical prototypes, as you can see on the picture on the right. They could also model digital experiences while people are interacting with a mobile app or a digital product. Even you could see some aspects of prototyping at an environment level, and in this picture it's showing the design of an e-toilet. And at the end also services are being prototyped. So services, if you look at digital services now that have been transformed, like Uber, DHL, all of these are services. If we look also on the right in here, this is a robot that is disseminating medicine to the users. Yeah, it's a very early sample, scaled down, inexpensive model that was generated in maybe 1 hour and a half. And it's just a release of a product of how it looks like. And if you see, it is just made from cardboard. And in here, like, they attached to it some cars to show the movement, and it's giving medicines to the user. So this is, we call it, it's a cardboard prototype. On the picture below, you see a digital clickable mock-up, and this is representing an app that has been designed as an interactive clickable mock-up, suggesting and suggest clothing outfits based on the weather. Yeah, this digital app was done by a kid who is like 11 or 12 years. So prototyping does not need coding. What it needs is that you learn the tool, and accordingly you could prototype at any level. Why do we need to prototype? There are many reasons that for prototyping. David Kelly says, fail faster, succeed sooner. Yeah, and most important, when you have a prototype, you look at it, it communicates the look, the feel. It allows you to know how a user is interacting, or what are the options of interaction with a product. And this gives visibility to the management team and the stakeholders, or if you're pitching an idea, of what the product would look like. As a team, when you're working together, it allows you also to gain better understanding of the design. It's cheaper, as we said, fail faster, succeed sooner, because when you're working with low fidelity prototypes, you're working with paper and pen. Yeah, you're not investing a lot of time in coding. It takes less time to make and modify. Most importantly, you get the feedback on the design, you adjust it, and this is until you get a validation before going to the development stage. According to Fjord, it saves up to 439K and months of lead time through Rapid when you do different kind of prototyping techniques. When we talk about prototyping, we talk about fidelity. And fidelity refers to how close your prototype represents the intended end product. It refers to how much detail and functionality you include in your prototype. We look at two main categories, and of course some of them fall in between, low fidelity and high fidelity. And if we're comparing them, low fidelity takes less time to do. High fidelity, you invest more time in it. Resources, low fidelity also takes less resources, while high fidelity you have, when we speak about resources, it could be human resources, materials, tools. So high fidelity also needs more. Testability, both low fidelity and high fidelity, you can test them, and they give you equal value of feedback. If we look at realistic, of course, high fidelity looks more like the realistic, or realistically more like the final product. So how to prototype? There are different techniques. It depends on what you're prototyping, yeah? And of course, the time that you have and the resources you have. But if we're looking in here, we go from low fidelity usually to high fidelity and reiterate. We have paper prototypes, yeah, which include storyboards and sketches. We have cardboard prototypes as the robot that you have seen. We have click-through or clickable mock-ups, video prototype, which you would use also along with other prototyping techniques to pitch your idea. So you might be using now doing a video and in it demonstrating, let us say, how you are using an app that has been done on Figma or that has been done on a paper prototype. It could be an animation. And then as you move up, yeah, then you add some codes to your prototype. But at least by then you would have verified maybe the look and the feel and the interaction of your low fidelity prototype. We have rapid prototypes, and these are 3D models. We will speak about them. And virtual prototype, this is alternative, which you can model and simulate your product. And these are used for engineering products. So what to choose? You could choose one, you could choose many, you could choose a combination of them. Actually, it depends on what you want to showcase. Now, so if you want to pitch an idea about the product look and feel, and this is at the beginning of your design stages, you could use a sketch, you could use cardboard, you could use a cardboard with a video, and you could use rapid prototyping. But rapid prototyping not at the beginning, towards the end of your design stage. If you want to show how a product is being used and different scenarios, and you want to show how the user is interacting with the environment and the flow of events, you could do storyboards, videos, and animation. If you want to focus on the screen design, the layout of elements, and user interface controls like the buttons, the links, yeah, widgets, and the flow of interaction, you could use a paper prototype, wireframes, and clickable mock-ups. And I'll provide some examples on each. If you want to have more representation of the product functionality, then in here you have to go for a higher fidelity prototype, and you have to have digital coded prototypes, and you could have, as I said, virtual prototype with simulation and modeling. This is in here, it's showing a paper prototype, and this starts at the early design. Again, why we use paper prototype? Some people refrain from using it, but paper prototype is actually, if you're looking at innovating novel solution, this is the best way to, it's a great way to start in. Why? It's easy to do. Yeah, even if you don't have drawing skills, you could still sketch. It's cheap, easy to modify. Let us say the concept in here of a headset being used for augmented reality, you could just sketch something else. But if you built it and then you find out that it's not like intended for the user, you've invested time and money. It also avoids distraction from superficial elements and visuals like colors. Now, sketching, maybe you're not at this stage, but it's good to start always with sketching because it allows you to model the external appearance of the product, the components, and the simple interaction. This is an example actually for how they started designing an augmented reality game and how they started the team ideating about how it should look like, how players could play with the swords, and what are the components of sensors and how do they communicate with the application as well. Another kind of paper prototyping is a storyboarding, and usually a storyboard is a sequence of illustrations that are used to develop a story. So you have a particular use case scenario. Usually, traditionally, storyboards have been found in comic books and designed for television, video games, or movies. Even you could do a storyboard for your video that you want to pitch. And they map to customer or user experiences, so they're beneficial to pitch an idea, understand the customer or the user journey, align your ideas with your teams, and uncover some gaps in products or services. This is an example of storyboard for personal interactions with robots. So in here, This example provides how actually robots are being used to motivate either a user on his goal, and we can see that how the user is interacting in the first scenario across different scenes and with an explanation of what is happening, and how the robot, for example, in here starts to grow certain what do they call it? Certain things on his body in order to really reveal that he's unhappy with the person or to motivate the person. This is another scenario where a robot is used for socializing, and accordingly the scene shows the story of how a person is socializing. So the storyboard is used to show the person, how he's interacting with your product, the environment where is it happening, and the interaction, whether it could be a voice interaction, it could be a interaction of clickable screens as well. Now, I'll just play this video for a while. And this demonstrates a combination of paper and cardboard prototyping for, for a blood kiosk. If you see, it's very cheap, and very easy to modify. Let me play it. So it's offering quick, simple blood testing services and to test between different things, blood chemical analysis. And if we look at the prototype.
You are about to take a blood extraction test. You'll be choosing from 3 tests between pregnancy, STD, or blood analysis. Please vocalize any thoughts you have, positive or negative, while testing the product. You'll be handed a credit card as a form of payment. Let's begin.
Okay.
Yeah, just hit the button.
Okay.
So basically, this is actually a paper cardboard prototype. And if you see, the components that are making these prototypes are just basically paper cards, And and here they are testing with the user how he's interacting with this low fidelity prototype, and they're providing this in a video demonstration. So if I'm speaking about a design, which is my blood kiosk, and I'm just saying it has the screen, it has the screen, all of these are abstract. And again, if I go to the other end and design a high fidelity prototype, it will be costing me a lot. Maybe the design is not adequate and it doesn't meet the user needs. So that's why we prototype at a lower level, which is cardboard and paper prototype. Now, one of the limitations of cardboard and paper prototype is that the interaction, and how many user flows go along. So accordingly, what they did is the following. So I will do a paper prototype and can take this into another digital experience with something called Nybl. And this is called a click-through paper prototype. So Nybl allows you to do a clickable through prototype, and just by taking snapshots of your paper prototypes and linking them together. In here, the student in here, this is a first-year student, they had like 3 hours to build a prototype, and they had an idea they wanted to pitch, so they were designing this robot. So they put, this is before COVID, yeah, that's why they were able to build this cardboard prototype together. And accordingly, later they needed to put also to pitch their idea. Yeah, within 3 hours, this is what was done. They represented the cardboard prototype, and this was very effective, cheap, easy. And if you see in here, you see as well the video of.
Yeah, okay, and the next video we're going to show you is a presentation of how it works, and the guy gets hurt, unfortunately.
So it's voice activated.
Hello, I am Bailey, your personal healthcare companion. I will alert you to the need for medical.
And they slided it on the wheels, yeah, very basic prototyping, but it shows how this robot will be used in what context in the environment and how it provides some functionality to the user. Very early, low fidelity, but it can give a lot of feedback later on how to improve the design of such a robot. You see also on here card prototyping for a robotic handler. In here also higher fidelity prototyping, which is modeling using CAD prototyping. These are the digital click-through prototypes mock-ups, and in here, if you see, this is to overcome the limitations of paper prototype. They can be used for websites, for application navigation. It allows you to test the user flow in greater detail, which is how the user flows from or navigates from one screen to another. It also shows a visual representation of the user interface, screens, user interface elements like buttons, images, and widgets. If you see also multiple hotspots of interaction directing from one screen to another, these tools like Figma, Adobe XD, this one was done in Adobe XD, also allow the users to test either remotely or to download this prototype on their apps. There is no code behind, so no need for programmers. And this becomes more representation to what your real product is, but the only thing, it doesn't demonstrate the functionality in great details. Coded prototypes, they're closer to high fidelity. They're done by developers, and after validating the mock-ups, the developer will add coded functionality, front-end scripting like JavaScript, HTML, and CSS to do some interactions, and back-end scripting, it could be Node.js, PHP. So you would see, yes, it looks more like the final prototype and how it demonstrates the functionality, but yet it takes some time to do, and it's not cheap. You're paying your developers, and you have debugging and many things. So these could be done in integrated development environments like Visual Studio, Brackets, PyCharm, and RStudio, and more. We come to rapid prototyping, and this is when you are not doing an app, of course, when you have some kind of a 3D model and you print it, and this is referred to as 3D printing, and the process of reiterating the design by quickly manufacturing physical prototypes and making smaller changes each step. So in here on the right, we see that different materials have been used in order to demonstrate the rapid prototype of this item. Of course, each technique has its advantage and disadvantage. One of the disadvantages of such a technique is the money you spend and the time you spent on modeling these items with different material. Virtual prototyping, and this is one of the highest fidelity prototyping. It's modeling a system and simulating and visualizing its behavior under real-world conditions, yeah, and refining it iteratively. So usually it's used for virtual prototyping of electronics. So in here, on the right, we could see in here, this is the physical prototype, which consists of a breadboard, it consists of a bulb, and the user in here has to wire. Of course, they're programming this microchip as well. But alternatively, instead of doing all of this, you could refer to Tinkercad, where you have a virtual breadboard, you have a virtual environment to code, and you create it with virtual wires. And this is, if some of you are doing smart devices, it's a good idea to start from here. It minimizes the cost, yeah, instead of burning maybe 10 pieces of this because you didn't program it well, you test it before, and once it's ready, you connect it on a physical board and use a physical Arduino. This is an example of Arduino Tinkercad. There are other simulators as well. In here also you could find in a video about the simulator and how it's being used. When we prototype, we could use different techniques. So in here, in this example, this is a paper that was published in 2019, and we see that the author, to design the final product, has went through different, which is a robot, different techniques and modeling, from low fidelity, where he designed storyboards to show the use case scenario at an airport. Then they used also rapid 3D modeling using CAD. Also for the pad, they've designed digital clickable mock-ups to show the interaction and the UI elements until this was the final product. And simulation as well was used to simulate the movement of this robot before releasing it and trying it as a final product. Many of you also are doing some application related to augmented reality. You don't have to code an augmented reality application. What you could do is you could use different techniques. So you could use like 2D illustrations using, for example, Adobe Illustrator. And what you could do in here, for example, they are envisioning how a service technician would get AR guidance in a room. And then this is what he sees. So in here, if you look at this example, what they did is that they took pictures from the real environment. Yeah, they placed them on PowerPoint and then augmented this with some digital information like 1, 2, 3. This is a button in here. The user could click. This is the navigation. Yeah. So this was an example of doing augmented reality. Prototyping tools, if we look at paper prototypes, pen, paper, and stationery and creativity, and that's why it's used for innovating products. If we looked at digital prototypes, we have for clickable mock-ups, you could do PowerPoint, just add figures and put links, not the best tool for prototyping. Figma is very good for prototyping. Adobe XD is very good as well. Adobe Aero is used for augmented reality. Sketch also, but it's only can be used on Mac systems. You could use also 2D illustrations to visualize and show the environment and the interaction. Marvel is for paper prototype to allow interactivity. ProtoPie is actually one step ahead of Figma and Adobe XD. It allows you to do micro interactions that are similar to JavaScript interactions. And here you could see a list of prototyping tools as well. The most important when you are doing, whether you're doing paper prototype at a sketch level or a storyboard, always get feedback. Feedback is very important because when you get feedback, you know what are the user needs. According to the feedback, you could also be testing the functionality. Is it working, not working? Yeah. Is the navigation well aligned? Yeah. Another thing, is the content architectured properly? Usually when you're doing this kind of evaluation, either with the user, which we call it user testing, you have some measurement criteria, like the time it takes someone to finish, let us say, registration, or the number of steps, and you enhance accordingly. You could also test with experts. These are user experience experts or interaction designer experts or domain experts, meaning experts in the domain that you're designing. So if you are designing something, let us say, for accountants, you could test the app with accountants as well. The summary of this, we have different prototyping techniques. I had only 25 minutes to give you a brief introduction about prototyping techniques. I'm sure that many of you are already prototyping, whether low fidelity or high fidelity. What you have to think about is what techniques that I should choose. Should I choose one or more than one technique? For pitching your ideas, it's good to go with a video demonstration. In the video demonstration, either you use a paper prototype or a cardboard prototype, or you illustrate how your prototype is being used as well. It depends sometimes also on what is being prototyped. Sometimes you are prototyping a mobile app, so it's good to go for clickable mock-ups. But if you have an electronic engineering product like an Arduino or an IoT device, you need to go for virtual prototyping. It also depends on the time, resources that you have, and how close your prototype is to the real representation, and what is the expectations of the people that you're prototyping for. Testability, as I said, it's good at a low level or a high level, so it's not a criteria to look at, because all kind of prototypes provide good testability. You have different tools also to choose from, ranging from pen, paper, digital mock-ups, coded prototypes, 3D models, and simulations. These are few references that you could go through. There are videos in the slides. We will give you these slides so that you could take a look at them. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I leave it to you, Judy.
Yes, thank you so much, Engie. I will take it from here. So, any question before I continue with the video pitch presentation? Any question from the floor? I saw there is Mr. Noor joining us. Good afternoon, Mr. Noor. How are you? Mr. Noor Al Nahhas.
Sorry, I was on mute. Good afternoon. How are you, Judy?
Very good, very good. Thank you for your time to join us today. So, yeah, maybe you have some ideas or additional tips on the prototyping.
Absolutely. I mean, prototyping is the most important thing. One of my favorite quotes and mantras is perfection is the enemy of progress. Okay, meaning you don't have to keep waiting till something's perfect until you release it. You won't know if you're ready to go unless you release it or you make your prototype and work. And so getting a product prototyped going and working and looking at how it's going to function is much better than spending weeks or months further in trying to perfect something on paper. And you'll learn 10 times as much when you actually put something together in a prototype than you will when you're trying to brainstorm and think it. So, you know, Engie was amazing, and the tools she described, I thought was really cool. The idea of actually mocking up hardware device in cardboard, I like that. I think we're going to try that at Nybl. We've used Adobe and Figma many times because they help you just figure out how something's going to function and look and give you the idea. So just one of my things, you know, compared to this is don't worry about being perfect. There's a very famous quote: if you don't look back at your first product and you're ashamed, it means you either moved too slow, yeah, or you waited too long. And so the idea being here, get to market, get your product out there. You'll learn and you'll continue to improve, and you can only do that if you work through prototyping the right way.
Yeah, some people may be too afraid to show a prototype if it's, let's say, it's a storyboard, just a handwritten or hand-drawn. Do you think it is okay to submit prototype just like that?
I'll say yes, but I'll have a qualifying statement with that. Whatever you're prototyping, remember that it needs to communicate and deliver the message. So if it's doing that effectively and it's a sketch on a paper, then again, don't spend more time than you need to. If a sketch on a paper communicates the message, shows the value, then that's all you need. That's what I would have as my judging criteria. And you know, the best one I like is show it to a 5-year-old. If they don't get it from your storyboard, then you're not explaining it simple enough. And funny enough, I'm actually moving my house in the middle of moving, so my camera's off because I look like a mess. But I found I found an old paper that I saved in my drawer, and I just wasted 2 hours this morning reading it, not packing. And it talks about how people buy with emotion, not logic. Okay? So remember, in your storyboard, in your pitch, and everything you do, invoke emotion. And that's what your storyboard, your pitch, your prototype, they need to invoke emotion. You don't have to explain the logic or the technology or the intelligence or none of that. 99% of the people don't care about that, but they'll care about how they feel when they're listening to your proposal, how they feel when they see your prototype, how they feel when they hear your pitch and your story, and if they can understand it. So keep it simple, explain it to a 5-year-old. If they get it, then you're on the right track. And if it communicates the message, then it's perfect. Doesn't matter if it's a sketch or cardboard or something very complicated.
Yeah, I remember last week's your presentation last week that you have to connect what you present with your origin. So I believe that this prototype is also a good tool to represent that.
Exactly. I mean, it's to your story combined. So the reason why you do a story is because it invokes emotion. And if your prototype speaks to that story and invokes emotion, and it's emotion in your investors, emotion in your clients, emotion in your employees, not just in one. And if you think of it from that perspective, then you'll know the best way to move in. Just like I can't stress this enough. Just get it out there. Don't spend 7 months when you start with month 1, you have something ready. Put it out there. Figure out how to make it better. Release it 6 times in 7 months, than waiting for one release in 7 months.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Noor. Thank you for the insight. We
Thank-
have a question here. Yeah.
Thank you, Noor. Thank you, Noor. Actually, I agree totally with Noor. And one of the major points when you're designing for user experience is empathy. So what you need to do is put yourself in the place or in the shoes of the user and the shoes of the stakeholder and the shoes of the team that you're representing for. What they're expecting, they're not expecting to learn about AI or the technology that is behind. What they are expecting to do is to fulfill a specific need from that application or that product that you're designing. And the experience or their journey going through these transitional elements is very important. So if, as Mr. Noor said, if a 5-year-old kid understands how to interact with it, then it is actually a good user experience, okay? So, and there is a question from Shaila is about, is an improvement of an already pioneered object. Is it okay to use available video and picture prototypes from the internet, or should the prototype be original illustration designed from scratch? Okay, depends on what are the features that you are prioritizing. So let us say if you are designing, I'm not sure what is your product about. Let us say if you're designing a new innovative way for an e-commerce application, So if you just pitch in an idea of how you add items on the cart and how you check out, most probably the team you're pitching for, they will tell you this has been done earlier. So I would focus on prioritizing my feature. What is the thing that I am doing as an improvement? And I would start from there. Let us say if I'm doing in an e-commerce application something which is related to augmented reality and trying makeup on, I would focus on bringing that experience into my prototype. You don't have to prototype all the features. Prioritize your features and focus on the prioritized ones. And then you could say, similarly, let us say you could add, like other applications, you could add items to the cart. I hope I answered your question, Shaila. Okay.
Also, yeah, pay attention about reusing someone's intellectual properties, like the license of the videos or picture that you're using. Please pay attention to that. Maybe it has a copyright to it. Yeah. Okay. If there's no more question, I'll move on with the assignment. So this is the exciting moment, the next step in your journey to become an entrepreneur. Is this assignment? So entering also, who was that? Ahmed Abid, yeah. So here's the details of the assignment. So all the participants who have made it so far, you are required to make a maximum of 3 minutes. It doesn't have to be exactly 3 minutes. It can be less, but not more. Upload it to YouTube, and you submit through this form. So you already uploaded to YouTube. It's live on YouTube. If you don't like it to be a public video, you can make it as unlisted, so people cannot find your video. But you will have the link, the URL to that video, and submit the link via this URL, okay, by 17th of October 2021. And don't worry, if you don't remember this, you can take a screen capture of this, you can write it down, but we will email you. And as mentioned, if you don't receive email, or if you don't know who is your mentor yet, please quickly send email to the last address that you received from the organizer. I think Mr. Rohit Unni is also here, so hopefully he can help to reply. Yeah, Amar, you can do a public or unlisted, it doesn't matter for us as long as we can watch the video. We will pick top 10 winners, and they will be presenting live on 1st of November 2021. Of course, we will give enough time before the announcement so they can prepare. Abhinav, you have a question?
For the video pitch, should I get I'll just have to talk about the idea and why I made it.
That's coming up next. Next slide.
Should I talk about how I plan to take it further, or just the idea and presenting it to?
Coming up. Okay. Okay, Mr. Noor, thank you. Thank you so much for joining. See you again next time. All right, so I'll move on to the next slide. These are some useful tips, and to answer your question, what should you present inside the video? It's only 3 minutes, so be wise. But first of all, you have to choose a good location to shoot your video. You can shoot in a place with enough light, yeah, so it's not too dark, it's not too bright as well. You try to minimize the clutter behind you, and try to minimize the noise, no cat meowing or dog barking, right? Otherwise, the viewers will be distracted, right? Introduce first about yourself or your team, if you're a team. Don't be shy to mention about the experience, your past experience and your reputation if you already have some. This will help you to even boost yourself, your idea. But don't say anything that you are not, right? Let's say I say that I have win this and won that, but actually I'm not. So I'm sure you're not going to do that. And then introduce the problem. Introduce the problem precisely. Don't drag too much. Just say this is the problem. Who is affected? Let's say affected some of this kind of people, this kind of group. And then what have been attempted to solve the problem? What are the similar products that have a similar solution before? And you pinpoint like, oh, but this product has this kind of flaw, or cannot solve this type of particular problem. Hence, you have a new solution. And then move to the next one, you introduce about your solution. Show it on camera. Maybe it's small, maybe it's big. If it's big, you can use the prototyping technique. You can show the picture, or you can take from other video, as long as you care about the copyright. Yeah, I see Patrick is raising the hand. Yes, Patrick.
Good afternoon, Judy.
Sorry?
I'm saying good afternoon. How are you?
Yeah, good.
Yeah, I didn't get the other pitch which you passed by. I wanted to get the link, and like I've been trying to take photos of them. So I'm requesting maybe you try to go back a little bit. I take the picture, then you can continue, right?
Yeah, I will go back later. So let me finish this slide, and then I'll go back later. All right?
All right. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, so introduce your solution, show it, and then explain what it is, how it works, and how did you test it. This is important. Remember the slides from Ms. Engie about the prototyping. You need a feedback. You need to test it, and you need to show like what people say about your product. Of course, you will say all good about your product, but it is better if you tell us what other people say about your product. And you can compare it to the competitors, if there's any. Yeah, I'm sure all products have competitors, or the existing products, even if they don't think competing with you, but you can mention that, okay, this is a similar product and this is better than this because of what. And introduce your business plan. Imagine this is a excellence competition. So it's not just that your idea is good, but your idea makes sense, make a business sense that can sell. So you have to study about your target market. How are you going to reach them? How are you going to spend your investment money? And how to get back the ROI, the return of investment. Yeah. You can combine all of those in the action plan. So you have an action plan. What are you going to do next? If you're selected, what are you going to do next? In week 1, you're going to do this. In month 1, month 2, month 3. And then when are you going to launch the product? When are you going to make a focus group, for example? And so on. When are you going to plan for the second version of your product? You can mention about this. You can have a long-term plan. You can have a short-term plan. So I saw just now Farah. Farah raised your hand. Yes, Farah?
Are you sharing your screen?
I am sharing my screen, yes.
Because I can't see it. I think you stopped sharing it.
Anyone else cannot see my screen?
I can see it. My screen is fine.
Okay.
Oh, I think it's from my side then.
Yeah, if you are on mobile, you may want to swipe your mobile screen and see it. Yes, Abdullah.
About the video, does it have to include a prototype?
Oh yes, I think that it will be more convincing, isn't it? The video is a tool.
Because my presentation is, because my topic is completely a little bit big. It's about a city, creating a city, a sustainable city. So maybe it takes more than 3 minutes.
Oh well, then shorten it. Maybe Miss Engie can give you some tips on yeah, how to.
So yeah, better to include your prototype, because the prototype, like when you have a picture or you have a model, it's worth more than 1,000 words. So you cannot just go and pitch your idea about this city and they do not see a prototype. So what you could use is, you could do, for if you're doing a city, you could do some kind of 2D illustrations, yeah, or you could do it on a 3D illustrations, and maybe something with a storyboard, depends. What you need to do is to focus what are the main features again, or the prioritized features that you want to convince your stakeholders, or you want to convince the team with. Okay, so focus on 2 or 3 and say these were the features that are prioritized and have been prototyped. Okay, so I would go for modeling the external appearance of the city, and then maybe at a use case scenario, choose 2 use case scenarios that are very important to your city and model them accordingly. You don't have to do it all.
Thank you, Ms. Engie. Amara, you have a question?
Yes. Oh.
Go ahead.
All right. So we just wanted to know if the order of the tips that you've given here should be in this order when we present it, or we could switch it up as long as everything is present.
You don't have to go by this order. But
Okay.
this order makes sense.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Any other question? Yes, Ravindra.
So we cannot exceed the limit of 3 minutes, right?
No. Well, you can, but it will reduce the quality of your video, which is next. Yeah. So the judging criteria, maybe it's not written there, but the video quality, one of the quality is that it fits into 3 minutes. It's not even an elevator pitch that requires you to give a presentation only in 1 minute. Yeah, 3 minutes is quite a good amount of time. So the judging criteria will be like this. The clear picture with enough lighting, clear audio, low noise, easy to understand speech, right? Well, my English is also not super good, but I try to make myself understandable, and a good view of the product or prototype. And again, there are many types of prototypes. You don't have to shoot the actual thing. You can make a prototype. You can even draw. And as Mr. Noor said, even hand-drawn is acceptable as long as the message is getting across and create the emotion. This is from the video quality point of view. And from the excellence point of view, you have a clear identification and understanding how or what problem that you are going to solve, what problem you are solving. And the acuteness of the actual problem, the pain point of it. Yes, the problem is big, but which point of this problem that you are trying to solve? And then the impact, what is the impact? Is it whether it's a new idea or is it a betterment of an existing solution is fine as long as it makes an impact. And the market potential of the idea of the hack. So you have to think about who will use this, who will buy this. Yeah, maybe somebody who buy it, not necessarily use it. For example, if I buy a baby product, I'm not a baby, but I can buy for my baby, right? And then the scalability of the hack. Maybe you want to start small and you will grow big. Maybe you address an issue in a small city, but you can grow in the countrywide or even in the world later on. And what is the investor motivation? You're not going to build this with your own money, right? That's why you're in this competition. You want investors to come and fund you. So you have to make it attractive for them that they will be motivated to put their money on you and tell them in how long they will get their investment back, right? I will go back from the first slide. So it's a 3 minutes video, not more, all right? Upload to YouTube, make it as unlisted or listed is up to you. And then you go to this website, there is an online form to submit. So it will ask for your name and your paper number, and then the link to the video. So later on we can relate, okay, this video is related to this paper. By 17th of October, late submission will not be entertained. And out of that, we will select top 10 winners. And we will invite them to present again live on 1st of November, 2021. Yes, your name is a sequence of number 549031149. Please, you have a question?
Okay. Good morning, Mr. Judy. Please, I don't know my document number. Now, can I know that?
First of all, I don't know you because you don't have the name. But how did you
Sorry, this is Miracle. This is Miracle. Miracle Chukuyu.
Okay. Yeah, it's a miracle that you are here. So you get this invitation via email. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay. In that case, you can reply to that email. Ask them, what is your paper number and who is your mentor? Good?
Okay, I know my mentor. My mentor is Mr. Noor, but
Yeah.
I don't have a number assigned yet. So
Okay,
that's
reply
better.
to that email. Ask what is my paper number.
Okay.
When you submit it to Easy Chair, you should have that. But yes, you can ask them again. Abhinav, yes, you can make it private and share a link. Are we allowed to be creative? Do you require to be high professional pace? You can make it creative, whichever you like, as long as it's a prototype, right? It's a prototype, so as long as it gets the message across and it has emotional value, right? It's okay. Nikita asked, does the video needs to have a team talking in front of the camera, or does it need to be through slides animation? Generally, people don't like slides animation. Yeah, people's emotion, as Mr. Noor said, will be more if they see faces, if they see people. People emotion will be more if they see people than they see things. Yeah. Okay, thank you, Ms. Engie. I know you have to go. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge today. Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
All right. Thank you, Amar. Okay, looking forward to your videos. Anyone else have still any question? Otherwise, I will close the session.
Sir?
Yeah.
Sir, sorry, I have a question.
Yes,
Can we have our team, let's say, on a Zoom meeting, and then we present our slides and we have our cameras open, but at the same time we're talking through the slides and engaging with them? Because what if we can't meet them, like our team members?
Perfectly acceptable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Abhinav, you still have any question?
So I have two questions. So for the pitch, if I were to show storyboard, how would wouldn't it be better to for me to show it digitally? It would be higher quality that way.
Yeah, it's really up to you. I mean, yeah, generally people's attention will be more if it's high quality. But whether it's high quality or not, we will take a look at it.
And sir, I can't really test it with anyone. That's another.
Okay. Yeah, if you haven't tested, then the chance for you to move forward is more difficult, right? Because your competitors, other submissions, most of them are tested, and you're not tested. And usually people will go for a tested thing than it's not. Okay.
So, but I can't really test it because I'm in school and don't have more than like 3 hours per day to work on this.
Okay, well, that's your.
But I can do everything except the
choice,
testing
right?
part.
I mean,
That's so.
I cannot dictate you to do this or that, right? It's your life choice. But generally, like, would you go to a restaurant that nobody has tested, or you go to a restaurant that people have said, yeah, that place is good? Okay, if you put it in your shoes, it will be like that. Okay.
I see the point, but I can't test it. That's something I can't do.
Yeah, then it's your choice. Yeah.
I'll try. I can make a prototype. That's it.
Yeah. And test it, not just making, but get someone's opinion. Yeah, get someone.
Oh, so that's fine.
Yeah, get.
I can ask a teacher here.
Yes. Ask teacher, ask your classmates. Yes, Abdullah. Sorry, before Somaya raised the hand first. Somaya.
Hello, sir. How are you?
Yeah, good. Thank you, Somaya. Please.
So my doubt is that what if my video is like an animation and I am giving voiceover to the video? Like if I don't want to personally show my appearance in the video, can I like introduce myself in the video through like audio? Yeah.
No problem. As long as you have this, you introduce yourself, right? It doesn't have to be, the face doesn't have to be there. You
Yeah.
want often characters representing your face is also fun. As long as you get the message across.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
So one last question.
Yeah.
For the feedback, for someone else's feedback, how do I incorporate it? Do I just show it, or do I get them to say something about it in the video?
Well, we are not going to verify that anyway, right? But you have that moral obligation to tell us how many people. Let's say you say 10 people have said this is good, and
Oh, like that. Okay.
right? Yeah. But if
Thank
later
you. I have to.
actually that 10 people are not really exist, then it's a problem for yourself. Yeah. So if
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
I have to leave now because my battery's about to die. But you'll send my mentor's email address, right? The fest.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank
Sir?
Navis has question. Navis?
Yes, sir. I was wondering. So, I've got this hack, but it's a bit more hypothetical. As in, there are research papers supporting it and everything, but we still haven't got everything yet. The technology is quite far away. So I was wondering, how do I make a prototype for those types of things?
Well, prototype can be low fidelity, can be high fidelity. So if it's something that technologically not feasible yet, you can make it as a low fidelity prototype, right? Show it in the video. You can make an animation. You can make a 2D or 3D models, right? And then definitely you have to explain the business plan. Many businesses come from thin air, means that it's not created yet, it's totally new. But if you can convince the investors to invest on you based on that drawing, based on that animation, based on that model, then you're very good.
Also, is it fine if we show the problems in the hack, as in things that need to be solved, as certain
Definitely.
areas that need further research and everything?
Definitely, you have to tell what is the problem here. Yeah, the problem is important to state. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Who else? We have Farah. Farah already.
Yeah.
Or do you have
I
any?
have another question, please.
Yeah, please.
Sorry. I just wanted to ask what time exactly on 17th November is the deadline?
Well, 17th of October by midnight Dubai time.
By midnight. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Nathi, you have a question?
No, I forgot to lower my hand. Sorry.
Oh, no worries.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. My question is about, for example, I'm using a lot of open source devices, which I'm going to maneuver or like transform into something of my own. So for the video presentation, is it okay if I just use the open source pictures and then state my modification on it?
Yeah, it is okay as long as you know that it is open source and it's not copyrighted license. Well, the copyright is open source, whichever it is, GNU or Harvard or whatever open source. You have to state that license type.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Oh yeah. Sir.
Yes.
Do I have to? You said you have to show your face in the presentation. Do I have to show my face and my voice?
No. Okay. Again, showing your face or not is your choice. But generally, people will have better emotion if they show other people, right? So it is up to you. You want to show your face or your real voice, or you want to use a robot voice. It's up to you. But definitely that will affect the judgment, right? Because the judges are not robots; they are human. So as Ms. Engie mentioned, empathy. As Mr. Noor mentioned, emotion. So which one do you think will give a better impact, will give better emotion? Your choice. Yes, anyone? I think that's about all then. Thank you so much. So if you still have any, there won't be any problem. No, it's okay. You can delete after 2nd of November. Yeah, after that. Yeah. Thank you so much, everyone. Please communicate with whoever sent you email, the address, okay, to get more information on that. And keep that video coming. Thank you. Once again, Judy here from Dubai signing.